If the universe is infinite, there should be infinite copies of you. The idea that we might not be alone in the universe is exciting. But what if we're not just talking about some other planets with different aliens on them? What if out there in the infinite expanse of space there exists an infinite amount of alternate universes where every single variation of events played out, and therefore everything that could possibly happen did happen, does happen, and will happen? This means that not only is there another version of you out there, but actually infinite versions of you. There are a few ways we can approach this conundrum. First off, let's talk about the size of the universe. Scientists have come up with some pretty mind-boggling estimates for how big the universe is. According to NASA, our observable universe is around 94 billion light years across and contains around 100 billion Earth-like planets. Now, here's the thing, even though the observable universe is mind-bogglingly huge, it's actually just a tiny fraction of the entire universe. There's a lot more out there that we can't see. Some astronomers estimate that the entire universe could be as large as 128 billion light years across. That's over 13 quadrillion kilometers. And yeah, it's really hard to wrap your mind around numbers that big. Okay, so now we have a big enough space to potentially fit infinite copies of ourselves. But how do we get there? To understand this, we need to look at time. According to the theory of relativity, time isn't just a tick-tock on the clock. It's intertwined with space to form a four-dimensional fabric called spacetime. Time is relative, meaning that it passes differently for observers who are moving relative to each other. For example, time slows down for an object as it approaches the speed of light. But here's the really interesting part. In a way, time travel is possible. It is not like stepping into a machine that looks like a phone booth and shooting off into the future. It's more subtle than that. By traveling at very high speeds, even close to the speed of light, one could experience time more slowly than someone who is stationary. The faster you move through space, the slower time goes for you compared to someone who is still. This means that if you were to zip around the universe at near light speed, when you eventually return to Earth, you would find that far less time had passed for you than for everyone else. You would be traveling into the future. Now let's put all this together. Imagine that our universe is a vast ocean stretching out in all directions. Just as the ocean is full of water molecules that are constantly moving and interacting with each other, our universe is full of particles that are always in motion. These particles, along with all the energy and matter in the universe, are the building blocks of everything we know. Now, according to quantum mechanics, these particles don't just exist in one place at a time. They exist in a kind of cloud of possibilities until they are observed or measured. When we measure a particle, we force it to choose one location over all the others. It's as if each particle were a tiny surfer selecting a wave to ride. This is basically the idea of superpositions in quantum mechanics. A particle can be in multiple states or places at once until it is measured, and then it has to choose one. But here's where things get weird. Just as a surfer can ride any number of waves, our particles can take any number of possible paths through spacetime. This means that every possible event that could ever happen does happen in some other universe. It's like there are an infinite number of parallel universes, each one representing a different path that our particles could have taken. In one universe, you might have decided to eat pizza for lunch instead of salad. In another, you might have won the lottery. In yet another, you might have never been born. All of these events are happening somewhere out there in the infinite expanse of the multiverse. So given that the universe is infinite, there must be an infinite number of copies of you out there. Actually, scratch that. There are not just copies of you, but copies of everything. Even the atoms that make up your body. Every possible combination of particles and energy is realized somewhere in the multiverse. In fact, in an infinite universe, everything that could possibly happen does happen. Every possible outcome of every possible event plays out in some parallel universe. Okay, so we have an infinite number of copies of you out there, but what does that mean? Does it mean that free will doesn't exist and everything is predetermined? Well, it's complicated. Here's the thing. In our universe, the paths that these particles take are constantly being influenced by countless factors, interactions between particles, fluctuations in energy, random chance. All of these things shape the reality we experience. But in other universes, these factors play out differently. Other versions of you make different decisions, take different paths through life. Some become astronauts, others become chefs. Some fall in love, others stay single. Every possible variation of events plays out in some parallel universe. So are we then just a product of these infinite factors, a collection of cause and effect, a puppet of the universe? Well, maybe, but here's the thing. Even if everything that could happen does happen in some parallel universe, that doesn't necessarily mean that free will doesn't exist. It's just that in our particular universe, our particular version of you, your path is unique. Sure, there are an infinite number of copies of you out there making different decisions. But in our universe, your decision to eat pizza for lunch instead of salad is, well, ours. Your decision to buy that lottery ticket was also unique. Maybe it's not about whether everything happens somewhere out there in the multiverse. Maybe it's about the particular set of circumstances that led to this moment right here and now. In our universe, here we are sitting in our little chairs, watching videos on our screens, sipping our coffee or tea, whatever floats your boat. We ponder the vastness of the cosmos and the nature of reality and existence and wonder if we are truly unique or just a small fish in a big pond. In this vast pond called the multiverse, we find comfort in the idea that we are not alone, that there are other versions of us out there experiencing the universe in all its glory. We imagine them laughing, crying, loving, hoping, dreaming, just as we do. And in doing so, we feel connected to something bigger than ourselves, something eternal and infinite. But perhaps the real wonder of the infinite universe lies not in the copies of ourselves out there, but in the uniqueness of our own existence. Each of us is a product of countless factors, a tapestry woven from the threads of our experiences, decisions, and interactions with the world around us. We are shaped by the people we meet, the books we read, the music we listen to. All of these things, big and small, contribute to the richness and complexity of our being. And in that sense, each of us is truly one of a kind, a unique expression of the infinite possibilities that exist in the universe. And yeah, sure, there are probably infinite copies of us out there, too. But that doesn't diminish the wonder and beauty of our own existence. It just adds to it. Because when we think about the infinite number of copies of ourselves out there, we realize that we are part of something bigger than ourselves, something eternal and infinite. We are part of the universe, and the universe is part of us. And in that sense, we are truly never alone. So here's to the infinite copies of ourselves out there, living infinite lives and experiencing infinite realities. May your pizzas be extra saucy and your dreams extra dreamy. And here's to us, the unique and beautiful beings that we are, experiencing the infinite possibilities of the universe one decision, one moment, one breath at a time. Thanks for watching.